What's going on, guys? So in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Range Rover's EAS. That's electronic air suspension. So let's go ahead and start it up. All right. So, as most people know, Range Rover and the Range Rover Sport have an electronic air suspension. You can raise and lower the suspension as needed. In some instances, the Range Rover does this for you automatically. So, let's talk about the different heights. Normal height. As it says, normal. This is what you would typically drive in. Just cruising down the highway, you're going to be in normal. So the next height is going to be access height. That's going to be lower than normal, 2 inches lower than normal to be precise. And it is, as the name states, to make the vehicle easier to get into when you're trying to access it. So right now, if you look at these switches over here, we are in access height. So the vehicle is lowered. Now, when we are going to go to normal mode, you can just put the car in gear and drive away. It will automatically adjust to normal mode. Unless, if you see this button here, we're going to hold this a little longer. Foot on the brake. All right, you heard that chime. So now we are locked into access mode. What this does is it locks the Range Rover into the lowered position, mainly if you're navigating around a parking garage or something like that, or maybe a low garage, and you want some extra clearance. Now, Range Rovers aren't that tall. You'd have to be in a pretty low garage to really need this, but it's nice to have. This will automatically go back to normal height if you exceed 22 miles per hour. To take it off, you just simply, I said simply, there we go, hold it. Hold the up button. And you heard that chime letting you know that it did get your command. So, we talked about access height, talked about normal height. Let's talk about off-road height. There are actually 2 off-road heights. And those are kind of, they're kind of used between off-road 1 and 2 automatically. So to put it in off-road mode, we're going to hit the button up. We are now in normal height. As you can see, this button is lit up. We're going to hit it again. Into off-road height. So off-road height 2 is 3 inches higher than the normal ride height. And as the name states, it's when you're off-roading or if you're in ruts, navigating obstacles. So the Range Rover will stay in off-road height 2 up to 31 miles an hour. Once you exceed 31 miles an hour, it will go down, it will drop to 1.6 inches above the normal ride height, up to 50 miles an hour. So once you hit 50 miles an hour, you're going to go back down into normal height. And obviously that is to get you, it's a little safer, less chance of rolling, and better aerodynamics. Speaking of aerodynamics, when you are in normal mode and cruising down the interstate, the vehicle can automatically lower you to a little bit lower than normal ride height, just to improve the aerodynamics. So that's how this works. There's also a couple of other ways to change the ride height. Over here on the driver's side door, you have a neat little button. I believe they call it the Queen's button. And it's basically, you press this and it will lower you into access height. And the nickname, the Queen button, comes from, oh, the Queen's here. Let's lower the vehicle to allow her entrance. But that's a neat little place. If you're driving and picking somebody up who needs a little help getting in, you lower the vehicle with that button. So there is also another cool feature for access height, and it is here in the gauge cluster. We're going to go to menu, and we're going to go over to settings and to convenience features. We're going to use the OK button to select that. And we are going to go down to auto access height. So I've unchecked it, but when I recheck it, or just when you check it in general, what this does is if you're driving around in normal height and you pull up to your parking lot or wherever you're parking and turn the car off and go to get out, the car is going to automatically droop down into that access height so that it's easier to get out. And when you come back to your vehicle, you will be in the the easy access height to get back into the Range Rover. Pretty neat feature, and I love that you can enable or disable it. Another neat feature of the electronic air suspension is in the back of the vehicle. Let's go check it out. Right beneath the rear seat tumble and raise buttons, you have these two buttons to raise and lower the suspension of the Range Rover to make it easier to get cargo out of the back. Well guys, that's the gist of the Range Rover's electronic air suspension. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I will get back to you as soon as I can. As always, thanks for watching and have a good day.